The girl they buried alive. Unknown, the girl they buried alive. The first thing I felt wasn't fear. It was wood, cold, rough, only inches above my face. For several long seconds, I couldn't understand what my fingers were touching. My hands explored the surface above me, trembling as my fingertips slid across splintered timber. Too close. Far too close. I tried to sit up. My forehead slammed into solid wood. Pain exploded through my skull. A gasp escaped my lips. Where am I? The darkness around me wasn't ordinary darkness. It wasn't nighttime. It wasn't a room with the lights off. It was complete, heavy, smothering. The kind of darkness that seemed to have weight. I stretched my right arm. Wood. My left. Wood above me. Wood. At my feet. Wood. I wasn't in a room. I was inside a box. No. The whisper barely escaped my lips. I pushed upward. Nothing. Harder. Nothing. The box trembled ever so slightly before settling back into place. Then, something cold landed on my face. A grain of dirt. Another. Then another. Every muscle in my body froze. Dirt. The horrible realization crashed into me before my mind wanted to accept it. I wasn't trapped. I was buried. My heartbeat became deafening. No! I slammed both fists against the lid. Again, again, again. The sound echoed back at me, muffled by layers of earth. Help. Nothing. No answer. No footsteps. No voices. Only my own breathing growing louder, faster, more desperate. I kicked with everything I had. The coffin shifted half an inch before thousands of pounds of soil pressed it firmly back into place. Tears burned my eyes. This couldn't be happening. This wasn't real. Maybe I was dreaming. Maybe I was unconscious after an accident. Maybe the lack of air hit me like a wave. Every breath suddenly felt too small, too shallow. My chest tightened. My vision blurred even though I couldn't see anything. No, not like this. Think. Think. Panic was using up the little oxygen I had left. My father had taught me breathing exercises years ago after panic attacks had become part of my life. At the time, I had rolled my eyes. Now they might save me. Slow inhale, hold. Slow exhale, again, again. My pulse gradually slowed. Not enough, but enough to think. What happened? The last memory, rain, headlights, someone shouting my name, a sharp pain behind my head. Then, nothing. I reached carefully behind my neck. My fingers came away sticky. Blood. Someone had struck me. Someone wanted me here. Someone wanted me dead. I swallowed hard. No. If they wanted me dead, why bury me alive? Why not simply kill me? Unless they believed I already was. The thought sent ice through my veins. My hands searched my body. Silk, lace, tiny glass beads sewn into fabric. I frowned. A dress. Not just any dress, an expensive one. My breathing caught as my fingers reached my left hand. A ring, large, cold. A diamond. Memory returned like lightning. White roses, church bells. My mother's tears, my father's smile. Guests standing. Music, a man waiting at the altar. Nathan, my fiancé, today. Today was my wedding. Oh God. The words escaped before I realized I had spoken them. Was I attacked before the ceremony? After? Did anyone even know I was missing? Or had they already buried me because they thought I was dead? No. No. Stop. Think. Every problem has a solution. My fingers continued searching the narrow space around me, near my waist. Something hard, metal. I pulled it free. A bridal hairpin. Long, thin, steel. I stared at it even though I couldn't see it. Hope. Ridiculous. Tiny. Beautiful hope. If you were smart, I whispered to whoever had done this, you would have searched me. I forced the tip into the narrow gap where the lid met the side of the coffin. The metal bent. I gritted my teeth, pushed harder, again. Wood creaked. A splinter snapped. Fresh air, barely noticeable, but real. I closed my eyes. There was still a chance. Whoever buried me had made one mistake. They assumed I would surrender. They didn't know me. My name is Evelyn Hart, and I refused to die before learning who buried me alive. Hours seemed to pass, or maybe only minutes. Time had stopped existing inside the coffin. Every movement cost energy. Every breath mattered. I kept widening the tiny crack with the bent hairpin until dirt began trickling steadily into the coffin. Most people would have panicked. Instead, I smiled, because dirt falling in meant the wood was breaking, and if the wood was breaking, so was my prison. The soil poured onto my chest, into my hair, into my mouth. I coughed violently. The weight above me shifted. One board cracked with a sharp snap. I pushed with everything left inside me. Pain shot through my shoulders. My wrists screamed. The broken lid split another inch. Cold earth flooded over me. For one horrifying second, I thought I had made the worst mistake of my life. The dirt buried my face, filled my nose, pressed against my ribs. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't scream. Instinct took over. I clawed upward like an animal, one handful, then another. The soil was loose, fresh, recently dug. Someone hadn't buried me days ago. It had happened today. That realization gave me strength I didn't know I possessed. My fingers finally broke through. Cold night air kissed my skin. I almost sobbed. Stars. I could see stars. I shoved my arm farther through the opening. Then my shoulder, then my head. The rest of my body followed with desperate, frantic movements until I rolled onto wet grass, coughing dirt from my lungs. I lay there for what felt like forever. The night sky stretched endlessly above me. I'd never appreciated fresh air before. Rain began to fall, soft at first, then harder. It washed dirt and blood from my face. I laughed, then cried, then laughed again, because I was alive. I forced myself to sit up. Rows of gravestones surrounded me. A cemetery. The fresh mound of dirt beside the broken coffin looked almost unreal. A simple wooden cross had already been placed at the head. I crawled toward it. The words carved into the wood stole the air from my lungs. Evelyn Hart, beloved daughter, beloved fiancé. 1998 to 2026. Beneath it, today's date. Someone hadn't tried to kill me. According to the world, I was already dead. A pair of headlights suddenly swept across the cemetery. I dropped flat against the ground. A black SUV rolled slowly through the main gate. It stopped less than 50 yards away. The driver's door opened. A tall man stepped out wearing a dark coat. Even from that distance, I recognized the way he walked. Nathan. My fiancé. The man who had promised to love me forever. He wasn't alone. A blonde woman climbed out of the passenger seat. She wore my white coat, the one Nathan had given me for Christmas. He wrapped his arm around her waist. Then he kissed her. Not like a grieving man. Not like someone who had buried the love of his life. Like a man kissing the woman he had wanted all along. Nathan looked toward my grave, toward the broken earth, toward the coffin I had clawed my way out of. For one terrifying second, I thought he had seen me. Instead, he smiled and quietly said the words that would change everything. It worked. The words reached me through the rain, quiet, casual, almost relieved. I pressed myself flatter against the wet ground, barely daring to breathe. Nathan stood beside my grave with one arm around the blonde woman's waist. The woman wore my coat. My engagement ring glittered on her left hand. I stared at it, certain the darkness was deceiving me, but I knew that ring. I had chosen it with Nathan in a small jewelry store downtown. He had complained about the price, then bought it anyway after I told him I didn't need anything expensive. Now it was on another woman's finger. The woman lifted her hand toward the grave. "Do you think they'll notice?" Nathan glanced at the cross bearing my name. Notice what? That it happened too quickly. His expression hardened. They saw the body. My stomach twisted. What body? The woman looked uncomfortable. Not her face. They saw enough. But if someone asks for another examination, they won't. How can you be sure? Because her father signed everything. The rain grew heavier. My father. I thought of him standing outside the church that morning, adjusting my veil with trembling hands. I had believed he was emotional. Had he known? Had they all known? The blonde woman moved away from Nathan and stared down at the grave. She didn't deserve this. Nathan gave a short laugh. You weren't saying that last week. I wanted her gone. I didn't want her buried. Those are the same thing now. She turned sharply. You said she wouldn't feel anything. She didn't? I almost cried out. My fingernails dug into the mud. He had known. Nathan had known I was inside that coffin. The man I had planned to marry had buried me alive and then brought another woman to admire his work. The blonde rubbed her arms. I hate cemeteries. Then stop staring at the grave. She trusted you. So did I. The bitterness in his voice surprised me. The woman looked at him. What does that mean? It means Evelyn wasn't who she claimed to be. My anger froze. What are you talking about? Nathan glanced around before lowering his voice. She found the account. The blonde's face lost its color. When? 2 weeks ago. Then why didn't you tell me? Because you panic. We should have left. And abandoned everything? We could have taken the money. It wasn't ours yet. Neither was her house. Nathan turned toward her. It is now. My mind struggled to keep up. The account, my house. What had I found? I searched my memory. 2 weeks before the wedding, I had gone into Nathan's study looking for a passport. I remembered moving several papers from his desk. A bank statement had fallen to the floor. Not his personal account, a company account, Hartwell Foundation, my mother's charity. There had been transfers I didn't recognize, large ones, but I had barely looked at it. Had I mentioned it to him? Yes, that night over dinner. I had asked why the foundation was paying money to a consulting company I had never heard of. Nathan had smiled and told me it was probably an accounting issue. The next morning, he gave me flowers. I had forgotten about it, until now. The blonde moved closer to him. What if she told someone? She didn't. How do you know? Because I checked her phone. I remembered Nathan taking my phone the night before the wedding, claiming he wanted to charge it. My body went cold. What about the journal? The woman asked. Nathan's jaw tightened. What journal? She wrote everything down. Since when? Since she was a teenager. How do you know that? The woman hesitated. Then Nathan's expression changed. You've been in her room. No. You said you never went upstairs. I didn't. You just told me about her journal. The woman looked away. Nathan grabbed her wrist. Who are you? She pulled free. Don't be ridiculous. Answer me. You know who I am. I know who you said you were. The woman's face changed. For the first time, she no longer looked nervous. She looked cold. You're becoming paranoid. You stole her coat. You gave it to me. You asked about the journal before we buried her. Nathan stepped back. The woman reached into her pocket. I expected a gun. Instead, she pulled out a phone. Relax. Who are you calling? No one. The screen lit her face. For a second, I saw her clearly. My breath stopped. I knew her. Not well, but I had seen her before. She was one of the nurses at the private clinic where my mother had been receiving treatment. Her name was Claire, or Clara, something close. I had spoken to her twice. She had always been kind, too kind. Nathan stared at her. You work for him. The woman smiled. I work for whoever pays. Nathan moved first. He reached for her phone. She twisted away and drove her elbow into his throat. He staggered. She kicked his knee, sending him into the mud. Then she pulled a small pistol from beneath my coat and pointed it at his chest. You were supposed to leave after the burial. Nathan looked up at her. You said the documents were in the house. They are. Then why are we here? To make sure Evelyn stayed dead. My heartbeat stopped. The woman turned toward the grave. Her eyes moved slowly over the broken soil, the empty coffin lid, the disturbed mud. She knew. Nathan followed her gaze. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Then he whispered, No. The woman stepped closer. The grave was only 20 feet away from where I hid behind a low stone angel. She crouched beside the broken earth and touched the edge of the coffin. She got out. Nathan scrambled to his feet. That's impossible. She got out. She was unconscious. She was breathing. You said the injection would stop her heart. For 3 minutes. You said the doctor would declare her dead. He did. Then how? She woke up too early. Nathan turned in a full circle, scanning the cemetery. I pressed my face against the mud. My white wedding dress was stained brown and red, but under the flashes of lightning, it could still betray me. We need to find her, the woman said. Nathan looked toward the road. She can't have gone far. She may be watching us. The woman raised the gun. I held my breath. Her gaze passed over the gravestones, over the trees, over the stone angel hiding me. Then headlights appeared beyond the cemetery gate. Another car. The woman swore. Nathan grabbed her arm. Is that your man? No. A police car rolled through the entrance. The woman shoved the gun back beneath my coat. Act normal. You're holding me at gunpoint. Not anymore. The police car stopped beside Nathan's SUV. An older officer stepped out. Mr. Cole? Nathan's entire expression transformed. He became the grieving fiancé again, shoulders lowered, eyes red, voice shaken. Officer, the policeman looked toward the grave. What happened here? Nathan stared at the broken coffin. I don't know. The officer reached for his radio. Stay here. Nathan stepped forward. My fiancé, stay back. The woman moved beside him. My God. Her performance was flawless. She covered her mouth. She's gone. The policeman turned. Who are you? Evelyn's cousin. I almost laughed from the horror of it. The officer approached the grave carefully and shone his flashlight inside. The coffin was empty. He immediately called for backup. Nathan looked as if he might collapse. The woman placed an arm around him. She was buried this afternoon, he said. I know, the officer replied. Then where is she? The officer looked at him. That's what I'm trying to determine. I should have stepped out. I should have screamed. There was a police officer 20 feet away. But then the officer looked toward the woman, not like a stranger, like someone he recognized. A brief glance, a silent exchange. The woman gave the smallest nod. The officer turned away from the grave. "Mr. Cole, you should go home." Nathan stared at him. "My fiancé's body is missing. We'll handle it." "You're telling me to leave?" "Yes." The officer's hand rested on his holster. Nathan finally understood. He looked from the officer to the woman. "You're one of them." The officer didn't deny it. The woman smiled. "Go home, Nathan." He backed toward his car. "What about Evelyn?" "If she's alive," the officer said, "she won't be for long." My blood turned to ice. Nathan opened the driver's door. The woman moved toward the passenger side. He stared at her. "You're coming with me? You're going to take me to the house?" "No." She placed one hand inside the coat. Nathan looked at the officer. The officer smiled. Nathan got into the car. The woman followed. The SUV reversed and disappeared through the cemetery gates. The police officer remained behind, alone, with me. He walked slowly between the graves, sweeping his flashlight over the ground. I stayed motionless. Rainwater filled my mouth. My injured hands shook. He stopped near the stone angel. "Evelyn." My heart slammed against my ribs. "I know you can hear me." The beam of light moved over the statue. "Come out." I closed my eyes. "Your family is worried." He took another step. "We can get you medical help." Another. "You must be freezing." His boots appeared beside the angel. I could see mud clinging to the leather. The flashlight passed over the ground inches from my face, then stopped. He had seen the edge of my dress. The officer crouched. "Found you." I moved before he could grab me. I threw a handful of mud into his eyes. He shouted and fell backward. I lunged for his belt. My hand closed around something metal, not the gun. Pepper spray. I pressed the trigger directly into his face. He screamed. I crawled away, slipping in the mud. His fingers caught the back of my dress. The fabric tore. I kicked blindly and felt my heel connect with his jaw. He released me. I ran, barefoot, bleeding, half blind from rain. I didn't look back. The cemetery fence rose ahead of me, too high. I turned toward the main gate. The officer fired. The bullet struck a gravestone beside my head. Stone exploded across my cheek. I screamed and ducked. A second shot followed, then a third. I ran between the graves, changing direction each time lightning illuminated the cemetery. The officer cursed behind me. My lungs burned. My legs felt weak. The sedative was still inside my body. I could hear him gaining on me. Then I saw a small maintenance building beside the chapel. The door was open. I ran inside and slammed it behind me. There was no lock. I pushed a metal cabinet in front of the door. The officer hit it from the other side. "Open the door!" I searched the room. Tools, buckets, a lawnmower, one small window too narrow to climb through. The door shook. The cabinet moved an inch. I grabbed a shovel. The officer hit the door again. The cabinet moved farther. There had to be another way out. I looked up. A trap door in the ceiling. I dragged a chair beneath it and climbed. The officer slammed into the door. The cabinet tipped. I pushed the trapdoor open and pulled myself into a cramped attic space just as the door burst inward. I closed the hatch silently beneath me. Darkness swallowed me again. For one terrible second, I was back inside the coffin. No air, no space. Wood pressing against my face. I bit down on my hand to stop myself from screaming. Below me, the officer entered. His footsteps moved slowly across the floor. "She's not here," he said. He was talking to someone on the phone. I pressed my ear to the boards. "She escaped the grave. Nathan saw it." A pause. "No, he doesn't know everything." Another pause. Yes, I understand. His voice lowered. The girl is injured. She won't get far. Girl. He said it like I wasn't a person, like I was an object that had escaped storage. The officer searched the room. I heard metal scrape. The chair moved. He had seen the trapdoor. I gripped the shovel. The hatch began to lift. Before it opened, a car horn sounded outside. The officer stopped. A woman shouted, "Police!" Real police. Several doors slammed. The officer lowered the hatch. He moved quickly toward the entrance. I waited. Voices filled the building. Questions, footsteps. Someone called his name, Officer Daniel Mercer. I repeated it silently, Daniel Mercer. I would remember. After several minutes, the attic hatch opened again. A young female officer looked up. Her eyes widened. "Oh my God!" I raised the shovel. "Stay away from me." She lifted both hands. "My name is Officer Reyes. I'm not going to hurt you." "You know Mercer?" "Yes. He tried to kill me." Her expression changed. "What?" "He shot at me." She looked over her shoulder. "Where is he?" "I don't know." The officer climbed halfway into the attic. "You're Evelyn Hart." I tightened my grip. "How do you know?" "Your grave is empty." "That doesn't answer me." She paused. "You were reported dead this morning." "By whom?" "Your father." The words hurt more than they should have. I already suspected him. But hearing it confirmed made something inside me crack. Officer Reyes removed her jacket and held it toward me. "You need a hospital." "No." "You're bleeding." I said no. She studied me. "What happened?" "I was drugged. A doctor declared me dead. They buried me. Nathan knew." "Your fiancé?" "Yes." "Why would he?" "Because of money or documents. I don't know." I looked toward the hatch. "Mercer is involved. The blonde woman is involved. My father signed the papers." Officer Reyes remained silent. I could see disbelief battling concern in her expression. "Do you believe me?" I asked. "I believe you were inside that coffin." "That's not enough." "No," she said quietly. "It isn't." She climbed down and spoke to someone below. Then she looked back up. "Mercer is gone." "Of course he is." "He took one of the patrol cars. He'll tell them I'm confused." "He already did." My body went cold. "What?" "He radioed that you attacked him after escaping from a psychiatric facility." "I have never been in a psychiatric facility." "He said you were delusional and dangerous." I laughed once. The sound was broken. "Smart." Officer Reyes looked uncomfortable. "There's more." "What?" "The medical report says you died of cardiac arrest caused by an overdose." "I don't use drugs. It says you had a history." "I don't." She hesitated. "Your family confirmed it." I closed my eyes. My family had helped erase me before I was even in the ground. "Who called you here?" I asked. "An anonymous caller reported gunshots." "Was it Mercer?" "No." "How do you know?" "The caller was female." "The blonde woman? Or someone else?" Officer Reyes held the jacket closer. "You can stay up there until you trust me, but you're freezing." My body had begun to shake uncontrollably. Not from fear, from cold. I lowered the shovel. She wrapped the jacket around my shoulders and helped me climb down. 3 officers stood inside the maintenance building. All of them stared at me, not like a victim, like a ghost. One whispered, "Jesus Christ." I looked at Officer Reyes. "I need a phone." "Who do you want to call?" I tried to think of one person I could trust. Nathan had betrayed me. My father had declared me dead. My mother had been ill for months, and Claire worked at her clinic. My closest friend, Lily, had moved overseas. Then I remembered someone else, someone I hadn't spoken to in almost 4 years. My older brother, Adrian. He had left after a violent argument with our father and never returned. My father had forbidden us from contacting him. I had obeyed. I hated myself for that now. Evelyn Hart, I said. Officer Reyes gave me her phone. I typed the number from memory. It rang once, twice, 3 times. A man answered. Hello? My throat closed. Adrian. Silence. Then his voice changed. Evelyn? I began to cry, not quietly, not gracefully. The sound tore out of me. Please come get me. Where are you? The cemetery. Another silence. What cemetery? The one where they buried me. He didn't ask what I meant. He didn't tell me I was confused. He said only, stay with the police. One of them tried to kill me. Then stay with one you trust. I don't trust anyone. Good. His voice became colder. That might keep you alive. The line ended. Officer Reyes watched me. Is he coming? Yes. How long? I don't know. She looked toward the other officers. We're taking you to the hospital. No. You may have internal injuries. I will not go anywhere connected to my family. We can take you to a different hospital. How do I know Mercer doesn't have people there? You don't. Her honesty surprised me. But if you collapse, none of this matters. She was right. I hated that. They placed me in the back of an ambulance. Officer Reyes rode with me. The paramedic asked questions: name, age, allergies. Last thing I remembered, I answered only the basics. When he tried to insert an IV, I grabbed his wrist. What is that? Celine. Show me the bag. He did. Open a new one. He frowned. Officer Reyes nodded. Do it. He replaced it. I watched every movement. The hospital they chose was 40 minutes away. Small, public. No connection to my mother's clinic. When we arrived, there were already reporters outside. My face was on every screen in the emergency room. Bride's body missing from grave. Then the headline changed. Dead woman found alive. A photograph from my engagement announcement appeared beside it. Perfect hair, perfect smile. A life that no longer existed. The television reporter spoke rapidly. Authorities are investigating reports that 28-year-old Evelyn Hart, declared dead this morning after an apparent overdose, may have been found alive near Greenwood Cemetery. Apparent overdose? I stared at the screen. Officer Reyes turned it off. A doctor examined the wound on my head. She estimated I had been unconscious for 10 to 12 hours. The wedding had been scheduled for 11 that morning. I had awakened in the coffin around midnight. My family had buried me less than 6 hours after I was declared dead. No autopsy, no delay, no investigation, a private death certificate, a closed coffin, a rushed burial. It was all impossible, unless many people had been paid. The doctor found injection marks near my ribs. I hadn't noticed them. One here, she said. Another near your shoulder. What was I given? We'll test your blood. How long? Several hours. Do not send the results electronically. She looked surprised. Why? Because someone altered my medical history. Officer Reyes supported my request. The doctor drew 3 samples and sealed them in front of me. Then she asked if I wanted a sedative. I almost laughed. No. An hour later, Adrian arrived. I knew him instantly, even though he looked different. Older, harder. A scar crossed one eyebrow. His dark hair was shorter than I remembered. He wore a black coat and carried himself like someone who expected violence. When he saw me, he stopped. For several seconds, neither of us moved. Then he crossed the room and wrapped his arms around me. I held him so tightly, my injured hands screamed. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "For what?" "For not calling." He pulled back and looked at my face. "We'll discuss that when you're not wearing your own burial dress." Despite everything, I laughed. He looked at Officer Reyes. "What happened?" She began explaining. Adrian listened without interrupting. His expression remained calm. Too calm. When she mentioned Officer Mercer, something dark entered his eyes. "You know him?" I asked. "No." "You reacted." "I reacted to a police officer trying to execute my sister." "That isn't all." He looked at me. I knew that look. Adrian had never been good at lying to me. "Tell me." He sat beside the bed. 4 years ago, when I left, it wasn't because of an argument." "What do you mean?" "Father found out I was investigating the foundation." My pulse changed. "The Hartwell Foundation?" "Yes." "What did you find?" "Money disappearing through fake companies, medical payments, political donations, private security contracts." Nathan was involved. Adrian's jaw tightened. "Nathan joined later." "You knew?" "I knew he wasn't who he claimed to be." "And you said nothing?" I tried. "When?" "The night before your engagement party." I remembered that night. My father had told me Adrian was drunk and unstable. He had said Adrian threatened Nathan. I refused to see him. "You called me," I whispered, 6 times. "I blocked your number." "I know." Shame burned through me. "Father told me you wanted money." "He told everyone that." "Why didn't you go to the police?" "I did." "Mercer?" Adrian nodded. He took my statement. 2 days later, every document I had disappeared. I stared at him. "You knew Mercer was involved." "I suspected." "Why didn't you tell Officer Reyes?" "Because I don't know who she reports to." Officer Reyes stood near the door. "I report to Captain Miller." Adrian looked at her. "And who does he report to?" She didn't answer. He turned back to me. "The foundation isn't a charity." "What is it?" "I don't know exactly. I never found the center of it." "My mother founded it." "Mother's name is on it. Father runs it." "She knows nothing." "You don't know that." Anger flared inside me. "She's sick." "She became sick after she tried to leave him." I stared at him. "What?" "Her breakdown wasn't natural." "No." "Evelyn." "No. She has depression, anxiety, memory problems. All symptoms that can be caused by long-term medication." I thought of Claire, the nurse, the woman wearing my coat. My stomach turned. "They've been drugging her." "I believe so." "For how long?" "Maybe years." The room seemed to shrink around me. "Why?" "Because Mother knows something." "What?" "I was hoping you did." I covered my face. The wedding, the missing money, my mother, Nathan, the grave. Everything was connected. A nurse entered. "Ms. Hart?" Adrian stood immediately. "What?" "Your father is here." My entire body tightened. "I don't want to see him." "He says he needs to confirm your identity." Adrian laughed without humor. "He buried her this afternoon." The nurse looked nervous. "There are police officers with him." Officer Reyes moved toward the hall. "Which officers?" Before the nurse could answer, the lights went out. The room fell dark. My breath stopped. Wood. Dirt. No air. I was back inside the coffin. Adrian grabbed my hand. "Evelyn, stay with me." Emergency lights flickered on, red, dim. An alarm sounded somewhere below. Officer Reyes drew her gun. This isn't a power failure. Footsteps approached in the hallway. Several, slow, controlled. Adrian pulled the IV from my arm. "What are you doing?" the nurse whispered. "Getting her out. There's only one exit." "No," Adrian said. "There's a service stairwell behind radiology." "How do you know?" "I checked the building plans on the drive here." Of course he had. He wrapped a blanket around me and handed me shoes from a plastic bag. "Can you walk?" "Yes." It was a lie. He knew it. "Then walk anyway." Officer Reyes opened the door a fraction. The hallway was empty, too empty. The nurse stayed behind. Adrian led me toward the rear corridor. We had taken less than 10 steps when a voice came through the emergency speakers. "Evelyn." My father's voice. I stopped. Adrian pulled me forward. "Don't listen." "Evelyn, sweetheart, you're confused." His voice echoed throughout the floor. "You've been very ill." Adrian's grip tightened. "You know that isn't true." "You hurt yourself this morning." The hallway blurred. "You took pills." "No," I whispered. "You imagined the coffin." My fingernails cut into Adrian's hand. "You were never buried." We turned the corner. At the far end of the corridor, my father stood beneath the red emergency light. 2 police officers flanked him, neither was Mercer. My father looked exactly as he had that morning. Perfect suit, perfect posture, perfect concern. Then his eyes dropped to the dirt still caught in my hair. For 1 second, his mask slipped. He looked afraid, not relieved, not shocked, afraid. "Evelyn," he said, "you signed my death certificate." His face softened. "I signed what the doctors gave me." "You buried me. You were dead." "I was breathing. You don't understand what happened." "Then explain it." He took 1 step closer. Adrian moved in front of me. "Stay back." My father looked at him. "You should never have returned. You should have made sure she was dead." The officers raised their weapons. Officer Reyes raised hers. The corridor became silent. My father looked past Adrian at me. "Come with me, Evelyn." "No." "Your mother needs you." The words struck exactly where he intended. "What did you do to her?" "Nothing." "You've been drugging her." "She is sick." "Where is she?" "At home." "Then let me speak to her." "You can when you're safe." "I am not safe with you." Something cold entered his expression. "You have no idea who you're standing beside." I looked at Adrian. My father continued, "Ask your brother what he really does." Adrian didn't move. "Ask him why he disappeared." "I know why." "No, you know the story he told you." "Stop," Adrian said. My father smiled. There it was. A wound. Something he could use. "Tell her, Adrian." "Not here." "Tell me what?" I asked. Adrian looked at me. The hesitation was enough. My father spoke. "Your brother works for the people trying to destroy this family." "What people?" "The people who placed you in that coffin." I stared at Adrian. "No." "He knew you would survive." "Stop talking," Adrian said. He designed the drug protocol. The hallway tilted beneath me. I stepped away from my brother. He reached for me. I flinched. "Evelyn, listen to me. You knew about the drug?" "Yes." The word crushed the air from my lungs. "You knew they were going to bury me?" "No, but you knew I would be declared dead." He looked at my father. "We don't have time for this." "Answer me." I knew they planned to stage your death. Who is they? My organization. My father smiled. Officer Reyes stared at Adrian. What organization? Adrian ignored her. The plan was to remove you from the house before the wedding, give you a drug that slowed your pulse, transfer you under a false name, keep you hidden until I could expose the foundation. You were going to fake my death? To protect you. You didn't tell me. You wouldn't have believed me. So you drugged me? No, someone changed the plan. My father's smile disappeared. Adrian continued. You were never supposed to be buried. You were supposed to wake in a secure clinic. Then who put me in the coffin? I don't know. My father stepped backward. Adrian saw it. So that's what this is, he said. What? You hijacked the operation. My father's eyes sharpened. Adrian looked at me. The blonde woman wasn't working for Nathan. Claire? Her name isn't Claire. She's one of ours. One of yours? She was supposed to monitor your mother and help extract you. She pointed a gun at Nathan. Because Nathan betrayed the plan. My head throbbed. Nothing made sense, or worse, everything did. Nathan had believed Claire worked for someone else. Claire had expected me to remain dead. Mercer had tried to kill me. My father had declared me dead. Adrian had helped plan it. There were no innocent people left, only different versions of betrayal. My father lifted one hand. Evelyn, your brother is lying. Adrian laughed. You always say that when the truth becomes inconvenient. One of the officers beside my father moved. Officer Reyes shouted. The man fired. The bullet hit the wall beside Adrian. Chaos exploded. Officer Reyes returned fire. Adrian dragged me through a side door. We ran into a dark radiology room. Gunshots echoed behind us. He pushed a heavy machine against the door. Service exit, he said. I stared at him. You drugged me. Not personally. You planned my death. I planned your disappearance. There is no difference. There is when someone is trying to kill you. Who? That's what I came back to find out. A bullet tore through the door. Adrian grabbed my shoulders. You can hate me later. I already do. Good. Stay alive long enough to prove it. He opened a narrow door behind the imaging equipment. Cold air rushed in. A service staircase descended into darkness. I looked down. Darkness again. Every part of me resisted. Adrian understood. This isn't a coffin. It feels like one. Then hold on to me. I hated him. I trusted him. Both truths existed at the same time. I took his hand. We descended. Behind us, the radiology door burst open. We reached the basement. Pipes ran across the ceiling. The emergency lights did not work here. Adrian switched on his phone flashlight. Stay close. We moved through a corridor lined with storage rooms. At the end was an exit sign. He pushed the door. Locked. Move. He kicked once, twice. The door opened into a loading area behind the hospital. A black car waited beside the dumpsters. The driver stepped out. Claire. She still wore my white coat. She lifted both hands. I'm not armed. I stared at her. You checked my grave. To make sure you weren't there. You said you were making sure I stayed dead. I needed Nathan to believe that. You wore my ring. She looked at her hand. The ring contains a tracking chip. What? Nathan replaced your real diamond 6 months ago. This one was connected to his financial accounts. She removed it and handed it to Adrian. Mercer is compromised. We know, Adrian said. Your father moved the mother. My pulse jumped. Where? I don't know. Adrian opened the rear door. Get in. I didn't move. No. Evelyn. No more cars, no more drugs, no more secret plans. Claire looked toward the hospital. They will reach this exit in less than a minute. I don't care. You should, she said, because Nathan isn't the one who buried you. I know. Neither is your father. I stared at her. Then who? Claire looked at Adrian. He looked away. Tell me. She spoke quietly. Your mother. The world went silent. That's impossible. She authorized the burial. No. She ordered Mercer to make sure you didn't escape. No. She replaced the clinic transfer with the coffin. You're lying. Claire's eyes filled with something that looked like pity. I wish I were. Adrian grabbed my arm. We need to go. I pulled away. Why would she do that? Claire looked directly at me. Because you found the account. I felt the rain from the cemetery again. Nathan had said the same thing. The account. What was in it? Claire opened the car door. Get in, and I'll show you. Sirens sounded near the loading bay. Footsteps echoed from inside the hospital. I looked at Adrian. My brother, my liar, my only choice. Then I climbed into the car. Claire drove. Adrian sat beside me in the back. No one spoke for several minutes. The city passed outside in streaks of light. I stared at my reflection in the window, mud in my hair, blood on my cheek, a hospital blanket over a ruined wedding dress. I looked like a woman who had climbed out of her own funeral. Perhaps that was what I had become. Claire handed Adrian a tablet. He opened a file and gave it to me. The first page showed the Hartwell Foundation's accounts, millions of dollars moving through hospitals, clinics, and research companies. The second page contained names, hundreds of them. Beside each name was a date, a drug, a status, transferred, missing, deceased. My hands began to shake. What is this? Adrian answered. A human testing program. I stared at him. No. The foundation funds experimental drugs through private clinics. On patients? On people who don't know they're being tested. My mother's charity helped women with depression, addiction, and domestic abuse. Vulnerable women. Women no one would believe. What happens when something goes wrong? Claire looked at me in the mirror. They alter the records. And if someone dies, they call it suicide, overdose, accidental death. My stomach turned. How long? Nearly 20 years, Adrian said. My mother founded the foundation 20 years ago. Yes, she knew. Yes. I wanted to deny it, but memories had already begun rearranging themselves. My mother insisting I never ask questions about the charity, her sudden illness after I volunteered to help with the accounts, her fear whenever my father entered the room. Perhaps it had never been fear of him. Perhaps it had been fear of discovery. The account I found? Adrian swiped to another page. A list of payments appeared. Nathan Cole, Officer Daniel Mercer, Dr. Stephen Vale, Claire Bennett, my father, my mother, and one name I did not recognize, Evelyn Hart. I stared at it. No. Claire slowed the car. I looked closer. Payments had been made in my name for 11 years, not to me, through me. My social security number, my signatures, my trust fund. I had been funding the program since I was 17, without knowing. The house Nathan mentioned, I whispered. Adrian nodded. It belongs to the foundation through your trust. So Nathan married me to control it. Yes, and my parents allowed it. They arranged it. I felt strangely calm. Perhaps there was only so much horror the body could hold before it stopped reacting. Why did my mother bury me? Adrian took the tablet. Because the account you found wasn't only financial. He opened a hidden folder. Photographs appeared. Women in hospital beds. Some unconscious. Some restrained. Some dead. The final image showed a child, a little girl with dark hair lying inside a glass medical chamber. A label was attached to the photograph. Subject E17. I looked closer. The child had my face, my eyes, my birthmark near the collarbone. What is this? Adrian's voice broke for the first time. You were their first successful subject. I could not breathe. No. The panic attacks, the memory gaps, the medication father gave you as a child. No, you weren't sick, Evelyn. He looked at me. You were the experiment. For several seconds, I heard nothing. Not the engine, not the rain against the windows, not Claire's breathing, only those 4 words. You were the experiment. I looked down at the photograph again. The little girl inside the glass chamber was no older than 7. Her eyes were closed. Wires were attached to her chest. A clear tube ran beneath her nose. There was a small bruise near her temple. I knew that bruise. Not because I remembered the photograph, because I remembered waking with it. I had been told I fell down the stairs. I had been told I was clumsy. I had been told many things. Take me to her, I said. Adrian looked at me. Evelyn, take me to my mother. Claire's hands tightened around the steering wheel. That is exactly what she wants. Good. She tried to bury you. Then she can explain why. Adrian leaned closer. You're injured. You haven't slept. You were drugged less than 24 hours ago. And she is still out there. We need a plan. I had a plan this morning. I looked down at the ruined lace of my wedding dress. It included flowers, champagne, and marrying a man who helped fake my death. Claire watched me through the mirror. Your mother won't confess because you ask nicely. I don't need a confession. What do you need? The truth. Adrian's expression hardened. The truth may be worse than what you know. That stopped being a threat the moment I woke underground. No one spoke. The car continued through the city, then turned onto a narrow coastal road. I recognized the route. We were heading toward the Hartwell estate. My childhood home stood on a cliff overlooking the ocean, miles from the nearest neighbor. It was the sort of place magazines described as elegant, private, timeless. To me, it had always felt like a beautiful prison. Why are we going there? I asked. Claire glanced at Adrian. She took your mother from the hospital. You said you didn't know where. We didn't. Adrian held up the tracking ring. Until now. Nathan's ring, the fake diamond, the chip. Who is wearing it? Your mother, Claire said. I stared at her. How? Nathan gave it to her after he left the cemetery. Why would he do that? Because he finally understood he had been used. A bitter laugh escaped me. So now he wants to help? No, Adrian said. Nathan wants to survive. That makes more sense. The estate appeared between the trees. Every window was lit. The front gates stood open. That frightened me more than if they had been locked. Claire slowed the car. There should be guards. There aren't, Adrian said. Maybe she wants us inside. She does. I reached for the door. Adrian caught my wrist. Wait. I'm done waiting. She knows you're coming. Then let's not disappoint her. I stepped out before he could stop me. Cold wind tore through the thin hospital blanket around my shoulders. The wedding dress dragged over wet gravel. For one surreal moment, I saw myself from a distance, a barefoot bride returning home from the grave. The image would have been beautiful if it weren't so grotesque. Adrian came after me. Claire stayed near the car, gun drawn. The front door opened before we reached it. Nathan stood in the entrance. His suit was wet and stained with mud from the cemetery. His face was bruised where Claire had struck him. For a second, he looked relieved to see me. Then he saw Adrian. His expression changed. Evelyn. I stopped 10 feet away. You watched them bury me. His face tightened. I thought you were already awake. Inside a coffin? That wasn't the plan. Everyone keeps saying that. I was told you would be taken to a clinic. You kissed another woman at my grave. That was part of the cover. She wore my coat. I gave it to her because she was freezing. I stared at him. Nathan exhaled sharply. All right. That sounded better in my head. Despite everything, the absurdity almost made me laugh. Almost. You said it worked. He looked ashamed. I meant the death certificate. You meant my death. No. You helped drug me. I helped arrange the transfer. You stole from my foundation. Your parents stole from your foundation. I moved money because they told me to. You were going to marry me for my trust. Yes. At least he had stopped lying badly. Did you ever love me? He looked at me for too long. Yes. Wrong answer. It's the truth. The truth would have stopped you from putting a ring on my finger while planning to erase me. I thought erasing you would save you. Adrian stepped forward. Move. Nathan didn't. She's waiting in the ballroom. Who else is inside? Claire called from behind us. Nathan looked at her. Your director. Claire's face changed. Adrian swore under his breath. What director? I asked. No one answered. I looked from one to the other. You said your organization planned my disappearance. Adrian's jaw tightened. Yes. Who runs it? Nathan answered. Dr. Stephen Vale. The name from the account. The doctor. The man who had signed payments for years. He treated me as a child, I whispered. Adrian nodded. He also created the drug used to slow your heart. And he works with you? He built the organization. Claire approached slowly. We believed he was trying to expose Hartwell. Nathan laughed. He built Hartwell. Silence fell. Adrian looked at Claire. You knew? No. Your director is inside with my mother. I know what he told me. That isn't what I asked. Claire's gun lowered slightly. No, I didn't know. For the first time, she looked afraid. Nathan stepped aside. If we stay out here, they'll come to us. I looked at the house. Home. The place where I learned to read, where Adrian taught me to ride a bicycle, where my mother held me after nightmares, where my father had apparently signed papers turning me into a financial instrument and a medical subject. I walked inside. The foyer smelled the same: beeswax, old wood, my mother's perfume. A vase of white roses stood on the table. The same flowers from my wedding. One of them had begun to wilt. The ballroom doors were open. My mother sat in a high-backed chair beneath the chandelier. She wore pale silk. Her hair was perfectly arranged. She looked healthier than she had in years. No trembling hands, no unfocused eyes, no weak voice. Beside her stood Dr. Stephen Vale, silver-haired, calm, elegant. The same man who had treated me for anxiety as a child. The same man who had always given me candy after injections. My father stood near the fireplace. Officer Mercer was beside him, armed. There were two other men I didn't recognize. and behind them, a row of monitors displayed security footage from the estate. One screen showed the cemetery, my empty grave. Another showed the hospital corridor. Another showed us entering the house. My mother smiled when she saw me. My brave girl. Every part of me recoiled. Don't call me that. Her smile faded. You look terrible. I was buried. Yes. She said it simply. No apology. No denial. Just yes. I stopped in the middle of the ballroom. Why? Dr. Vale stepped forward. Because you were becoming dangerous. Adrian raised his gun. Mercer raised his. Claire raised hers. Nathan stood beside me without a weapon. The room became a web of threats. I kept my eyes on my mother. Did you order them to bury me? Yes. My throat tightened. Did you know I was alive? Yes. The answer hurt worse than I expected. Why? My mother looked almost offended. Because you were never supposed to wake. I stared at her. The drug was meant to stop your heart permanently? No, Vale said. Not permanently. He seemed eager to explain, like a teacher correcting a student. The compound slowed your heart to an undetectable rate. It also suppressed higher brain activity. For 3 minutes? For up to 12 hours. Claire looked at him. You told us 3. I told you what was necessary. Adrian's expression darkened. You used my team to deliver her. Vale smiled. I used your grief. Adrian took one step toward him. My mother lifted one hand. Enough. Everyone stopped. She still had that power, even now, especially now. You are alive because the compound worked, she told me. I am alive because I broke out. You were supposed to remain unconscious until oxygen deprivation ended the process. The process. She couldn't even call it murder. I looked at my father. You knew? He stared at the floor. Answer me. Yes. Did you watch them close the coffin? His mouth moved. No sound came out. My mother answered for him. He insisted on being present. Why? My father looked at me. I wanted to be sure you weren't afraid. The cruelty of it almost made me step backward. You thought I would be unconscious. I believed you were. And if I woke? He looked away. My mother sighed. Your father has always been sentimental. I turned back to her. You started the foundation. Yes, you tested drugs on women who trusted you. We developed treatments. You killed people. Some died. You erased their records. We protected the work. You experimented on me. Her face softened. Yes. Not guilt. Pride. You were extraordinary. I wanted to scream. Instead, I became very still. What did you do? Vale moved closer to the monitors. Your mother had a rare neurological condition during pregnancy. You were born with severe autonomic instability. I was healthy. You appeared healthy, he corrected. My mother watched me with shining eyes. You would stop breathing in your sleep. I looked at Adrian. He appeared stunned. You never told me, he said. You were a child, my mother replied. Vale continued. We developed a medication to regulate Evelyn's nervous system. On me. To save you. And then, it worked. His smile widened. Far better than expected. Adrian's voice was low. What did it do? Vale looked at me. It made her adaptable. That means nothing. It means her body learned. I remembered the breathing exercises, the panic attacks, the way I could slow my pulse when trapped, the way I survived underground. Vale seemed to read my thoughts. Your nervous system can enter controlled metabolic suppression under extreme stress. Heart rate slows, oxygen demand drops, pain response changes. Nathan stared at me. She survived because of the experiments. My mother nodded. That is why we chose the coffin. The room tilted. You knew I might wake. We knew you might survive. Then why bury me? To confirm whether the effect remained active. The truth entered slowly, coldly. My mother had not buried me only to kill me. She had buried me to test me. My wedding, Nathan, the grave. All of it had been another experiment. You wanted to see if I could escape. Yes. And Mercer. He was instructed to recover you if you succeeded. Mercer smiled. I remembered the bullet striking the gravestone. He tried to kill me. My mother looked at him. Mercer shrugged. She attacked an officer. You told him to recover me? Alive if possible, Vale said. If possible, I repeated. My mother leaned forward. You don't understand what you are. I am your daughter. You are proof. Proof of what? That death can be delayed. Vale's voice was almost reverent. Controlled death, reversible death, soldiers surviving blood loss, patients surviving surgery, human beings remaining alive without oxygen far beyond ordinary limits. Through trauma, through adaptation. Through torture. Words are emotional, he said. People are emotional. That is why progress requires distance. Adrian's gun remained trained on him. You built the organization to steal the research. Vale smiled. I built it to find the missing subjects. Claire went pale. What subjects? My mother answered. Not everyone died. The monitors changed. Photographs appeared. Women, men, children, faces from the files. Some older now, some younger, all marked with codes. Subject A3, Subject C9, Subject E17, me. There are survivors, I whispered. Dozens, Vale said. Perhaps more. And your organization finds them? Protects them, Claire said. Vale laughed. Studies them. Claire looked as though he had struck her. Adrian turned to her. You said safe houses. They were safe. For whom? I didn't know. Vale spread his hands. Everyone here believed a version of the truth that allowed them to cooperate. My father believed he was protecting the family. Nathan believed he was protecting me. Claire believed she was rescuing subjects. Adrian believed he was exposing the foundation. My mother believed she was changing humanity. Only Vale seemed to know everything. I looked at him. You planned the account for me to find. Yes. You knew I would ask Nathan. Yes. You knew Adrian would return. Yes. You knew my mother would order the burial. His smile sharpened. She is wonderfully predictable. My mother's face changed. For the first time, she looked uncertain. You said Evelyn had to be removed. She did. You said the research was compromised. It was. You said this would protect us. It protects the work. My mother stood. What have you done? Vale nodded toward the monitors. The screens changed again. Live feeds appeared from clinics, private homes, and holding facilities. People strapped to beds. People behind glass. People wearing hospital gowns. Some looked directly into the cameras. My stomach turned. These are happening now, Claire whispered. Vale nodded. The final phase began this morning. Adrian's gun shifted toward him. What final phase? Replication. My mother stared at the screens. You said we weren't ready. We weren't. Vale looked at me. Until Evelyn survived. Every person in the room understood at once. My escape had not ruined his plan. It had proven it. You needed me to wake, I said. I needed to know whether you still could. And now? Now I need your blood. Nathan stepped in front of me. No. Vale barely glanced at him. You already sold her once. Nathan flinched. I didn't know this. You knew enough. Mercer lifted his gun toward Nathan. Claire fired first. The shot hit Mercer in the shoulder. Chaos erupted. Adrian fired at the lights. The chandelier went dark. My father shouted. Someone grabbed me. I drove my elbow backward and heard Nathan gasp. Sorry, he choked. Wrong person. Gunfire exploded through the ballroom. The emergency lights flashed red. I dropped behind a marble column. Adrian moved toward Vale. Claire fired at one of the guards. Nathan pulled me toward the side door. My mother, I said. Your mother tried to bury you. She knows where the subjects are. She may also know how to kill us. Then stay here. I tore free and ran toward her chair. My mother had fallen behind it. My father crouched beside her. Get up, I said. He stared at me. Evelyn. Move! A bullet struck the floor. I grabbed my mother's arm and pulled her toward the library doors. My father followed. We entered the library and locked it behind us. The gunfire became muffled. My mother straightened her dress. Even now, even with death outside the door, she adjusted her sleeve. You always were stubborn. I slapped her. Her head turned sharply. My father stared at me. I hit her again. For the coffin. She touched her lip. Blood stained her finger. Her eyes changed. At last, I saw anger. Real anger. Not weakness, not illness, not maternal concern. You ungrateful child. There she is. My father stepped between us. Enough. I turned on him. You stood there while they buried me. He looked broken. I thought you would never know. That makes it worse. He sank into a chair. I couldn't stop her. You could have warned me. She controls everything. You signed everything. She would have destroyed Adrian. He was already gone. She would have destroyed you. She did. My mother laughed bitterly. I gave you life twice. You used me. I saved you as a baby. And spent the rest of my life making sure I paid for it. You have no idea what I sacrificed. Other people? Her face hardened. Do you know how many parents would have made the same choice? To experiment on their child? To keep her alive? Not for 20 years. The work had to continue. So you let Vale use you. I used him. No. I stepped closer. He used all of you. The ballroom door shook behind us. Someone was trying to break in. My father stood. There's a safe passage. My mother looked at him sharply. What? Behind the east shelves. You never told me. You never asked. For the first time, something like satisfaction crossed his face. He pulled a book from the shelf. A section of wood released. A narrow staircase descended. Darkness. Again. Always darkness. My body resisted. My mother noticed. Still afraid? I looked at her. No. Then I shoved her toward the opening. You first. She glared but descended. My father followed. I entered last and closed the shelf behind us. The stairs led beneath the estate. The walls were stone. Old, wet. The tunnel smelled of salt. Where does this go? I asked. The cliffs, my father said. My mother moved quickly despite years of pretending to be weak. You built this? My grandfather did. You hid it from me. You hid many things from me. Their marriage had always seemed cold. Now I understood. It was not love. It was mutually assured destruction. The tunnel split. My father pointed left. The boathouse. My mother went right. He grabbed her arm. That leads to the laboratory. I stared at her. There's a laboratory under the house? She pulled free. It was sealed years ago. You were going there. We need the records. No, I said. We need the people. She looked at me. The records contain 20 years of work. The people contain lives. Sentiment again. I stepped in front of her. Show me. She smiled slightly. You sound like me. I would rather go back into the coffin. The door at the end of the right tunnel required a code. My mother entered it. The lock opened. Cold white light flooded the passage. The laboratory stretched beneath the estate. Glass rooms, steel tables, old machines, some covered in sheets, others still active. The same glass chamber from my childhood photograph stood at the center, smaller than I remembered. Or perhaps I had been smaller. My legs nearly failed me. A memory surfaced, bright lights. My mother humming, Vale telling me to count backward, Adrian crying outside the door. I gripped the nearest table. My father looked away. You knew, I whispered. I knew they treated you. You heard me. His face collapsed. Yes. You heard me scream. Yes. My mother walked toward a control panel. This is not the time. She activated the system. Computer screens flickered on. Files filled the monitors. Vale's records, the subject database, locations, names, statuses. I moved toward it. My mother blocked me. These cannot leave this room. You're going to destroy them. I'm going to protect them. Vale already copied everything. Not the original formulas. My father stared at her. You knew he was moving to replication. I suspected. And you still buried her? I needed to know whether Evelyn remained viable before deciding what to do. Viable. I stopped feeling like her daughter. Perhaps I never had been. My hand closed around a metal instrument on the table. A scalpel. My mother saw it. Would you kill me? I don't know. That means no. You were willing to kill me. That was different. How? I created you. The sentence fell into the room like poison. My father moved before I did. He struck her. She fell against the control panel. We both stared at him. He stared at his own hand. Then he struck her again. For years, he whispered. My mother reached for a drawer. I saw the gun before he did. She fired. The bullet hit my father in the chest. He staggered backward. Dad! I caught him before he fell. My mother stood with the gun in both hands. Her face had become completely calm. He was weak. Blood spread across his shirt. He tried to speak. Nothing came. I lowered him to the floor. My mother pointed the gun at me. Move away from the computer. You shot him. He made his choice. He was your husband. He was an obstacle. The laboratory door opened behind her. Nathan stood there, bleeding from the forehead. His gun was pointed at my mother. Drop it. She turned slightly. You arranged our marriage. Yes. You told me Evelyn would be safe. She was never safe. He looked at me. For 1 second, regret filled his face. Then my mother fired. Nathan fired at the same time. Her bullet struck him in the shoulder. His struck her abdomen. She fell. The gun slid across the floor. I kicked it away. Nathan leaned against the doorframe. Is he alive? I pressed my fingers to my father's neck. A pulse, weak. Yes. Nathan pulled a phone from his pocket. No signal. There's a landline, my mother whispered. She was still conscious. Blood darkened her silk dress. Where? I demanded. She laughed. You still think you can save everyone? Where? Control room. Nathan moved toward the panel. My mother's hand slipped toward her sleeve. I saw the syringe. I grabbed her wrist. She tried to inject me. We struggled. The needle scraped my skin. I slammed her hand against the floor. The syringe broke. What was that? She smiled through the pain. The original compound. Nathan found the landline and called emergency services. I looked at the broken syringe. My blood, her blood. The clear liquid spread across the floor. My mother's breathing became shallow. You could have been extraordinary, she whispered. I am. I leaned close. I survived you. Her eyes filled with hatred. Then the monitors changed. Vale appeared on every screen, live. He stood somewhere inside the estate. Adrian was on his knees beside him. Claire lay unconscious nearby. Vale held a gun to Adrian's head. Evelyn, he said through the speakers. My body went cold. I know you found the laboratory. Nathan looked around for the camera. Vale smiled. I also know your father is dying. Nathan is wounded, and your mother is no longer useful. My mother stared at the screen. You promised me. Vale ignored her. Bring the original formula to the ballroom. What formula? I asked. Your mother knows. She closed her eyes. Tell me. No. Vale pressed the gun against Adrian's temple. 3 minutes. The screen went black. Nathan looked at my mother. What does he want? She laughed weakly. He can't replicate the compound without the stabilizer. Where is it? In my head. You wrote it down, I said. She looked at me. You know me well. My gaze moved around the room. The files, the equipment, the old chamber. Then I remembered the lullaby. The song she used to hum during treatments. Not random, numbers hidden in notes. She used to make me repeat it. 7, 3, 9, 2, I whispered. Her face changed. Nathan looked at me. What? I crossed to the glass chamber. A small panel was hidden beneath the base. I entered the numbers. It opened. Inside was a sealed vial and a handwritten notebook. My mother stared at me. How did you know? You taught me. I taught you nothing. You taught me to survive you. I took the notebook. Nathan grabbed the vial. We give him this? No. He'll kill Adrian. He'll kill him anyway. My mother smiled. Finally, you understand. I looked at her. No, I understand him. I opened the notebook. Pages of formulas, dosages. Observations, my entire childhood reduced to measurements. At the back was a list of emergency reversals, antidotes, side effects, and one warning circled in red. Full dose causes irreversible cardiac arrest in non-adapted subjects. I looked at the vial in Nathan's hand, the original compound. Vale wanted immortality. What he had created would kill him. A plan formed, dangerous, incomplete, the only kind available. Can you walk? I asked Nathan. With encouragement. I tore fabric from my dress and wrapped his shoulder. Then I looked at my mother. You're coming? She laughed. I'm bleeding. So was I. We lifted my father onto a wheeled medical table and pushed him toward the tunnel. Nathan supported my mother. She hated needing him. That helped. At the split, I looked toward the boathouse. Take my father there. Nathan understood. You're going alone? I need her. No. You can barely stand. Neither can you. That isn't an argument. It is tonight. He caught my arm. If he kills you. He already did. The words stopped him. I'm not the woman who walked into the church this morning. No, he said quietly. You aren't. I gave him the emergency code from the notebook. Call the Coast Guard from the boat radio. Get my father out. And your mother? I looked at her. She and I are finishing this. We returned to the ballroom through another passage. The gunfire had stopped. Bodies lay near the doors. Mercer was dead. One of Vale's guards was wounded. Claire was conscious now, tied to a chair. Adrian remained on his knees. Vale stood behind him. My mother leaned heavily against me. The notebook was in my hand, the vial hidden inside my torn sleeve. Vale smiled. Beautiful. You always did like your work damaged. Trauma reveals design. Let them go. Give me the stabilizer. I lifted the notebook. This? His eyes sharpened. And the original compound. I have both. My mother whispered beside me. Don't. Vale laughed. Now she develops a conscience. Adrian looked at me. Don't give him anything. Vale struck him with the gun. I took one step forward. Let Claire go first. No. You need me alive to confirm the dosage. I have your mother. She lied to you for 20 years. My mother glared. Vale considered it. Then he cut Claire's restraints. Walk. Claire stood unsteadily and moved toward me. One guard watched her. When she passed him, she drove the heel of her hand into his throat and grabbed his weapon. Vale fired. Adrian twisted aside. The bullet grazed his shoulder. Claire returned fire. The room exploded again. I pushed my mother behind a column. Adrian tackled Vale. The notebook fell from my hand. Vale kicked Adrian away and reached for it. I grabbed the vial. He saw it. Everything stopped. That, he whispered. His obsession was almost visible. I held it up. Catch. I threw it. He caught it instinctively. Adrian shouted. Vale ripped off the seal. My mother understood first. No. Vale injected himself. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then he smiled. You see? His smile vanished. His hand went to his chest. The vial fell. He staggered. What did you do? I held up the notebook. Full dose. His breathing stopped. He collapsed. Claire checked his pulse. Nothing. The man who had spent decades trying to control death died before he hit the floor. My mother stared at me. You destroyed everything. No. I looked at the monitors. The files are still here. She reached for the gun Claire had dropped. Adrian saw her. So did I. I moved first. I struck her hand away. She clawed at my face. We fell against the table. She was wounded, but strong. Stronger than she had ever pretended to be. Her fingers closed around my throat. You were mine. I drove my knee into her wound. She screamed. I pushed her away. She grabbed the notebook. If I can't have it... She moved toward the fireplace. I caught her wrist. The pages hovered over the flames. She looked at me. Choose. The research. Or her. For years, she had forced everyone to choose between love and obedience. This time, I chose neither. I released her wrist. She stumbled backward in surprise. The notebook fell from her hand onto the floor. Claire grabbed it. My mother lost her balance near the open cellar stairs. I reached for her. My fingers caught hers. For 1 suspended second, she hung over the darkness. She looked up at me. My mother, my abuser, my creator, my attempted murderer. Pull me up, she said. I tightened my grip. I could save her. I could let go. Both choices would live inside me forever. "You buried me alive," I whispered. Her eyes hardened. "And you survived." As though that erased everything. As though survival forgave the person who caused the wound. I pulled her up, not for her, for me. She collapsed onto the floor. Adrian handcuffed her with Mercer's cuffs. She stared at me in disbelief. "You should have let me die." "No." I stood over her. "You don't get to become a victim now." Sirens approached outside. Real ones this time. Claire had transmitted the files before the estate systems went down. Not to one police department, to journalists, federal investigators, international agencies, everywhere. Too many people to silence. The Hartwell Foundation collapsed before sunrise. Clinics were raided, patients were found, doctors were arrested. Some survivors had been hidden for years. Others had built new lives under false names. They all had one thing in common. No one had believed them. Until the files made disbelief impossible. My father survived surgery. He confessed to fraud, conspiracy, and unlawful experimentation. He claimed he had stayed because he feared my mother. Perhaps that was true. Fear explained his choices. It did not excuse them. My mother survived too. She was charged with enough crimes to ensure she would never leave prison. During her trial, she never apologized. She called herself a pioneer. Vale was buried without ceremony. No one came to claim his body. Officer Mercer's corruption exposed an entire network inside the police department. Claire testified. She had spent years believing she rescued people from the Foundation. Learning that she had delivered some of them into Vale's hands broke something in her. She stayed to help identify every survivor. Adrian disappeared for 3 days after the arrests. When he returned, he came to my hospital room carrying coffee and no excuses. "I knew about the fake death," he said. "I know. I should have told you." "Yes. I thought I was protecting you. Everyone did." He looked at the floor. "That doesn't make it better." "No." He nodded. "I'm sorry." This time, I believed him. Forgiveness came later, slowly, unevenly. Nathan visited once. He stood near the door with his arm in a sling. "I canceled the wedding," he said. I looked at him. That was considerate. He almost smiled, then he became serious. "I did love you. Maybe. I know that isn't enough. No. I'll return everything." The house, the trust, the accounts, all of it. "You should." He nodded. At the door, he stopped. "Will you ever forgive me?" I thought about the cemetery, the kiss beside my grave, his relief when he believed the plan had worked. Then I thought about him returning for me, calling for help, taking a bullet from my mother. "Maybe," I said. Hope entered his face. "But I will never marry you." The hope disappeared. That seems fair. He left. I never saw him again. Months later, the estate was converted into a recovery center for the people the Foundation had harmed. Not a Hartwell Center. That name was removed from every wall. The laboratory beneath the house was preserved as evidence. The glass chamber remained. Sometimes I visited it, not because I wanted to remember, because I refused to forget. The world called me the girl they buried alive. Newspapers used the name. Documentaries used it. Strangers whispered it when they recognized me. At first, I hated it. I was more than the coffin, more than the grave, more than what my family had done. But eventually, I understood something. The name did not belong to them. It belonged to me. They buried a daughter who trusted them. They buried a bride who believed love made people good. They buried a frightened woman who thought survival meant waiting for rescue. That woman did die underground. The one who climbed out was different. 1 year after the wedding that never happened, I returned to the cemetery. The wooden cross had been removed. The grave remained empty. Grass had begun to grow over the disturbed earth. Adrian stood several feet away, giving me space. Claire waited near the car. I knelt beside the place where I had awakened. For a moment, I could smell the dirt again. Feel the wood, hear my fists striking the lid. My breath shortened. Then I placed my hand against the ground. Slow inhale, hold. Slow exhale. I opened my eyes. There was no coffin, only earth, only sky, only air. I left something beside the grave, my engagement ring, the real one, the diamond Nathan had given me before everything became a lie. I pressed it into the soil, not as a memorial, as a burial. Some things deserved to stay dead. When I stood, Adrian asked, "Are you ready?" I looked once more at the empty grave. Yes. We walked toward the car. Halfway there, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I answered. A woman's voice spoke. Soft. Unsteady. "Is this Evelyn Hart?" "Yes. My name is Mara." I stopped walking. I was in the files. My heart tightened. "Are you safe?" "For now. What do you need?" She hesitated, then whispered, "You think Vale is dead?" I looked back toward the grave. "He is." "No," she said. "The man you killed was not Stephen Vale." The world seemed to narrow around me. "What are you talking about?" "I knew him." Her breathing quickened. "The real Dr. Vale has a scar across his left hand." I remembered the man in the ballroom. His hands, smooth, unmarked. Mara continued. "He also never uses his own face." A cold wind moved through the cemetery. "Who did I kill?" "One of his subjects." My grip tightened around the phone. "Where is Vale?" The woman began to cry. "I don't know." "Then why are you calling me?" "Because he found me." A sound came through the line, a door opening. Mara gasped. Then a man spoke in the background, calm, elegant, familiar. "Evelyn." Every muscle in my body froze. The voice belonged to the doctor from my childhood. Not the man in the ballroom. Older, colder, real. "You survived beautifully," he said. The call ended. Adrian looked at me. "What happened?" I stared at the empty grave, at the ring buried beneath the soil, at the place where I believed the worst had ended. "It isn't over. My name is Evelyn Hart. They drugged me, declared me dead, dressed me as a bride, and buried me 6 feet underground. They believed the earth would keep their secrets. They were wrong, because I climbed out. And now I know the truth. The grave was never meant to be my ending. It was my beginning. The end